For the member for Pittwater.
I rise to express the deepest sympathy on the passing of Professor the Honourable Dame Murray Bashir, AD, CVO, and to contribute to the celebration of her amazing life, and of course to place on record on behalf of the people of Pittwater our appreciation of her extraordinary contribution to New South Wales and our nation. As we have heard today, Dame Marie Bashir's life was extraordinary. She served our state with distinction as the first female Governor of New South Wales from 2001 to 2014, bringing to the role immense dignity and compassion. She was highly educated and a long-standing advocate for mental health, education and social inclusion. Born in 1930 in Narradiera, she pursued a career in medicine at a time when few women did, becoming a distinguished psychiatrist and a tireless advocate for mental health and children's well-being, areas that were too often overlooked. Her work gave voice and dignity to those most in need, and her influence reshaped how care, compassion and community responsibility were understood in public life. As the first woman to serve as the Governor of New South Wales, she broke barriers and set new standards for leadership. She demonstrated that authority and kindness are not opposites, and that the strongest leadership is grounded in empathy, integrity and respect. Her tenure elevated the role beyond ceremony, embedding it deeply in community inclusion and social justice. Others today have outlined her history in more detail, so instead I thought I would focus on her special connection with Pittwater. Dame Murray's connection to Pittwater was deeply personal, a sanctuary to be with family and in nature. She is on the record as describing our area as one of the most beautiful areas on our continent. Alongside her late husband, Sir Nicholas Shahadi, she chose Pittwater as a place of refuge and renewal. She had a home in Riverview Road, Avalon, with sweeping views over Pittwater, and later on the Surfside on Pacific Road at Palm Beach. As described by Alison Gudson of Pittwater Online, she was described as being a familiar and much-loved presence in the community, engaging warmly with locals and embracing the natural beauty and spirit of this part of the Northern Beaches. As such, I wanted to give those in our community the chance to be included in this condolence speech, and I reached out to many for their comments, memories and reflections. Firstly, I wanted to quote from the federal member for Mackellar, who reflected on her passing. She said, "Dame Maria Bashir's legacy will inspire generations to come. A gifted young musician who took a career in medicine, she became one of Australia's great clinicians and advocates, dedicating her work to mental health and children's well-being, at a time when often these areas were overlooked. She, as the first female Governor of New South Wales, paved the way, showing strong leadership, and on behalf of Mackellar and Sydney's Northern Beaches, I want to thank her for a life devoted to service, care and humanity." The former member for Pittwater, the Honourable Rob Stokes, also gave his condolences and reflected on Dame Marie being not only a wonderful governor, but also reflected on how highly his father always spoke of her, working with her as a doctor. Former member for Pittwater, the Honourable John Brogden, also shared his reflections. He said that she did everything graciously. He reflected on Dame Marie opening the outdoor covered learning area at Avalon Public School with him, describing it as a wonderful moment as her grandson attended the school. He also reflected that her grandson was very much a mini version of his grandfather, who was in fact the great man, Sir Shahadi. She also attended a launch of 2 new sailing boats that John Brogden had raised money for through Sailability Pittwater, and one of those boats was then named in her honour. A personal reflection was also provided by John's daughter, Lucy Brogden, who knew Dame Marie as Governor and professionally, and who said that her influence touched the lives of so many people in ways that she made sure were never public. Her impact is impossible to quantify. She changed and saved more lives than we will ever know. She had the great gift of care and kindness. Jason Falinsky, former member for Mackellar, also wished to put on record that Dame Maria Bashir was an example of what Australia means to so many, that from humble beginnings she rose to make an enormous contribution to her community, her country and our people, across so many areas that it is actually impossible to fully acknowledge her accomplishments and contributions. I wanted to thank again Alison of Pittwater Life, who did provide a beautiful obituary on Dame Marie's passing. She wrote, "Dame Maria was a very popular Pittwater resident who contributed in any way she could to local projects and events, and will be missed for her humble, gentle approach and embrace of locals. To Pittwater residents, she was one of our own. Her humble, gentle kindness and genuine interest in every single person she met, alongside her phenomenal intelligence and memory, where she knew your face the next time she saw you and could greet you by name, will remain treasured memories for all of us who were lucky enough to have spent even a few minutes with her. Thank you for your lifetime of service to us all." In other official duties in the Pittwater electorate, Dame Murray was made an honorary Commodore for the Avalon military tattoo, which was held at Dunbar Park on 18th of June 2011, where she also gave a keynote address. In her words, she said, "I felt elated and inspired about what I saw today, and in particular, where we saw glimpses of the future Australia in our young people. We must not cease to nurture them and to be glad that they are embracing those values and traditions. It is not vainglory or wearing a uniform, it is Australian tradition of caring for one another that has been handed down for as long as this country has ever existed." Fellow local Tamara Sloper-Harding, OAM, who is also head of the Avalon sub-branch, wrote to me today and wrote, "As Governor, Dame Maria Bashir supported Avalon Beach RSL sub-branch and was very interested in veteran welfare. She attended a number of events, including the tattoo I just mentioned, and when she did, she wore a Naval Commodore's uniform. She cared genuinely about veterans and their families, and she was a regular presence and very approachable." Tamara further noted that when there was a commandment of the Australian Command and Staff College in Canberra, that Dame Marie deputised for the Governor-General in 2011 as a guest of honour and at the graduation of students. And Tamara said of that time that she was a lovely person, again, who genuinely was interested in the members of the Australian Defence Force, the members of the 22 countries that were also graduating and all the families involved. It was an absolute pleasure and honour to meet her and spend time with her. In 2012, Dame Maria Bashir officially reopened the Palm Beach Bible Gardens, which had been rejuvenated by a local family, the Robinson family, and Pittwater Council. In her speech, she said, "At no time in our history have we needed to appreciate the teachings of the Bible more, especially the messages, again, of care and compassion, and how that is represented here. This beautiful place, an incredible haven, epitomises the generosity of the Australian spirit." In 2014, when she was awarded and made Dame of the Order of Australia, she was also with David James, who was the former Mayor of Pittwater in 2007, and Avalon Beach Surf Life Saving Club's former President Warren Young, who were awarded their OAMs in the same honours list and were photographed with Dame Maria when they all received their medals at Government House. Again, a lovely reflection related to the Pittwater electorate. Others in our community have shared lighter reflections. One constituent fondly remembers running into Dame Maria Bashir at a Bob Dylan concert in 2018. She was 88 years of age. She shared that she had been a long-standing fan and was delighted to be there, a story that sounds quite similar to what the Premier reflected on today as well with her love of music. Another Avalon resident reflected on the irony that Dame Marie was appointed patron of New South Wales Rugby Union and New South Wales Waratahs at the same time or similar time that her husband, who was the lifelong rugby figure, was actually appointed as a patron of the Country Women's Association. My father-in-law has also said that she was one of the most decent and gracious people he has ever met. As we honour Dame Maria's life, we recognise not only her extraordinary achievements, but the grace with which she carried them. And in speaking with those who knew her better than I, the same words are repeated time and time again: grace, decency, humility, kindness, and accomplishment. She was remarkable in every sense, deeply intelligent, profoundly compassionate, and extraordinary in the breadth of her contributions. Her service to this state, particularly in the fields of mental health, medicine, education, and social justice, has left an indelible mark. Dame Marie represented the very best of New South Wales and stood as a role model to us all. She leaves behind a legacy that will endure our institutions, our communities, and countless lives she touched. Pittwater is very proud that the Northern Beaches was and remains a home to her family. Her passing is, of course, deeply sad, but it is also a moment to reflect on all that she represented and to be inspired to live as she did, to serve as she did, and to inspire as she did, To be accomplished, yes, of course, but more importantly, to be kind, graceful and compassionate, and to seek to change the lives of those around us for the better. Pittwater extends its sincere condolences to her family, loved ones, and to all that mourn the loss of this exceptional Australian.
I call the